Okay, so here we have a pretty large book called Cathedral Cities of England by George Gilbert. And you can see it's got this gold lettering on the front here, as well as all of these embossed decorations. You can see the Tudor rose is a repeating motif here. It's just very detailed all around the cover there. And you can also see this on the spine. There's also a gilding on the top there, but not on the side or the bottom of the pages. So here's the Tudor rose again there, and then it says Cathedral Cities of England, Gilbert, with the publishing house there, and another rose at the bottom. The back of the book doesn't have any decorations on it. It's just that solid red cloth. All right, let's open it up here. So we've got a brief, small title page there, Cathedral Cities of England. And then we've got the actual title page here with red and black lettering. And then the frontispiece image here, which shows the cathedral at Canterbury. It says the Baptistry and Chapter House. And most of the images in the book are of this quality. So it says Cathedral Cities of England by George Gilbert, illustrated by W. W. Collins, R.I., with a publishing image there, and then the copyright year, which is 1905, which is also shown on the reverse side here. All right, and here's the table of contents. We've got the different cities here, so Canterbury, Durham, Lichfield, Oxford, Peterborough, St. Albans, Wells, Worcester, and it goes on. Towards the end, we've got London and New York, and then we've also got a list of all of the illustrations here. I'm not sure what kind of style the illustrations are done in. It looks like it might be kind of sort of watercolor or something like that. But they seem to be printed. So here's the introduction, or introductory, and I love this font at the top. It says, in the following accounts of the cathedral cities of England, technical architectural terms will necessarily appear, and to the end that they should be comprehensive, I give here a slight sketch of the origin of the various forms and the reasons for their naming, together with dates, and to the end that I may supply a glossary of easy reference, I place as side headings in this introduction the various expressions which will be met with throughout the book. This, I hope, may relieve the reader of the tedium of having to turn to books of reference at each moment, and being subjected to a constant reiteration of the terms which must necessarily be frequently employed. Just saying that they're trying to make it easy so that you don't have to reference other material to understand the topics of the book. So I'm flipping through the introduction here. There's a section here where it sort of gives a high-level view of the different styles of architecture. It looks like Romanesque, Anglo-Norman, medieval Gothic. I don't know much about architectural styles, so here it's talking about Anglo-Saxon. It says Anglo-Saxon may be briefly summed up as an inferior style of Romanesque, more especially the latter part. So it's got descriptions of all these different styles. Here it's got a section about Canterbury, it looks like. It says, of all cathedral cities, Canterbury, or as it is also called, Christchurch, may possibly be considered the most interesting. Though not the first to spread Christianity in Britain, it nevertheless firmly established it in the end. The earliest authentic evidence of Christians in England is mentioned by Tertullian in 208. And here's another one of the beautiful images here. There's quite a lot in this book, and it's a pretty large book. It's over 400 pages, and as you might have seen at the beginning when I was lifting it up, here's another image from Canterbury. The book is pretty large physically too. It's quite a bit larger than my hands here. It says, this abbey was dedicated to St. Peter and St. Paul at Canterbury, or as Canterbury was already recognized as the metropolis or head of the state of Kent, in that their kings had their royal residence there. It was no difficulty for Augustine, as spiritual head, to make it also a metropolitan see, the more so as, by the investiture of the Pope, he became the first archbishop, I think is what it said. And here's another image from Canterbury. It says the interior of the nave. And this book just has a bunch of really lovely illustrations. Another from Canterbury here, the Norman Stairway. Perhaps the most noteworthy portions of this cathedral, though it is hardly possible to make a distinction, are the chapel of Henry IV, with its beautiful fan tracery depending from the roof, the small but beautiful Lady Chapel, which is separated from the eastern side of the transept by the interposition of a finely carved stone screen, and in that part of the cathedral called Becket's Crown is the Chapel of the Holy Trinity, famous as the site of the gorgeous shrine of St. Thomas à Becket. In a lot of these cathedrals, they would have monuments or shrines to famous people, and those would sort of serve as their tombs. Here's an image of Durham. It says the Framwell Gate Bridge. Here's another image of Durham there. Another one. It says interior of the cathedral looking across the nave into south transept. And this book is just filled with all sorts of pieces of historical information about these different places as well. There's another of Durham. There's quite a few here. The Western Towers. Alright, so we're just kind of working through, and you can see we aren't even that far into the book yet. One of the most marvelous features, perhaps, of the whole cathedral is the impressive grandeur of its appearance to the traveler, approaching from any quarter, who sees this island hill capped by the mighty structure, soaring up, as it were, into the heavens, yet dominating by its protecting shadows the city round its base, the symbol most beautifully conceived of the affinity between earth and heaven, and truly the noblest form of monument of reverential design that the human brain could have possibly conceived. And here's a section for Lichfield. A pretty impressive illustration there of the west front of Lichfield. A section for Oxford. I love the sort of fancy Gothic lettering they have for the titles of the chapters. This is Christ Church, interior of the nave. Shows one of the beautiful windows there. And yeah, so we haven't even made it to the to a quarter of the way through the book yet. So with all the illustrations that have happened so far, this is just a pretty richly ornamented book. And here's Peterborough, the west front. All right, and here is Wells, Cathedral and the Pools. So it's showing some pools outside in a garden area outside of the cathedral, it looks like. And here's another illustration of Wells, the ruins of the banqueting hall. And now I'm just sort of jumping through. Here's a town image from Chester, it looks like. Section for Rochester. Looks like it's giving a listing of their spelling from the Doomsday Book as well. As its name implies, Rochester was a Roman camp. This place formed one of the stipendiary towns of this Latin race, and was called Duro Brevi. Not much information has been preserved concerning their occupation of the town. That it was important and served as a military basis is clearly demonstrated by the Great Roman Watling Street, which passes through the city, and which bears evidence to their great engineering skill. And if you read any books about sort of ancient Rome or things like that, you'll know that they were really well known for having really well-made roads. Like the Appian Way is the most famous one, I believe. All right, and here's Gloucester, the Cathedral and Old Parliament House, it looks like. says a native art and civilization existed in the island we know before the Roman conquest. Great skill in enameling, claimed by the ancients to be of Celtic origin, and the primitive abundance of gold and tin worked as history relates by the Phoenicians, encouraged a great degree of native excellence in metal work. So we're a little over halfway through the book here now. This is showing a tower at Lincoln, the West Towers. Alright, I'm just looking at some of the final engravings here. This one, or the, not engravings, sorry, illustrations. This is York. It's showing Stonegate, so another sort of town image there leading up to a cathedral. And then here we have another image of, or an image of London, Westminster Abbey, the north transept. It says here, the abbey, becoming ruinous through the Danes, was rebuilt by Edward the Confessor at the Collegiate Church of St. Peter at Westminster. In fact, this monarch is usually regarded as the founder of the church. Alright, so that's pretty much the end there. So just rich with great illustrations and information about all the different cathedrals in England. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a like or a comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.